Hello, and thank you for joining our Capital Connection. I'm Sheridan Hoyer. I'm the Government Relations Specialist here at the Montana Chamber of Commerce. If you joined us last week, we had a pretty comprehensive update on the first half of the legislative session with the transmittal break last week. I had some nice time to get home and hang out with my cat and bake some bread, but now we're back at it. And I thought maybe we'd slide on in, ease on into the session back, but that is not the case. We've hit the ground running. Yesterday, we've had some unemployment insurance bills and some pretty intense work comp issues this week. Not too, I guess intense is the wrong way to say it, but some substantive changes, quite a lot of work comp things, but nothing too crazy. This morning, Charles was in Senate Judiciary with our statute of limitations revision bill again. That was House Bill 571 this last legislative session. That's House Bill 301 this legislative session. And then a couple of other just easy tort reform changes. I say easy, I'm not the lawyer. You can talk to Charles on those details. I just came from House Bill 231 upstairs in Senate Tax. That is the great big governor's task force property tax proposal. And so that would create the homestead, compstead, and agstead exemptions. However, we went in as an opponent in the first House committee on it, and then we kind of stayed out in the appropriations hearing because the sponsor indicated that he was okay to lower that higher corporate tax rate back down to what it currently is, I think at 1.9. Well, but looking at it and looking at our membership, and then just seeing some more of the details as people have ran the numbers, we did make the decision to oppose it again on record this morning. It would create a different tax rate for some of our for that first portion of, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I can get those to you if you need them. But it would create a tax cut for some of our membership, and then a tax shift and a tax increase for other of our members. And so doing what we can, but we can't really support that. That was House Bill 231. Thanks for that reminder, Melissa. That's the great big tax proposal. The Democrat version of that is House Bill 155. I do think it also passed the House, if I remember correctly, but that one hasn't been scheduled for a hearing yet. And then we also just think that the bifurcated tax rate is not great tax policy. And if we have a higher tax rate for certain portions of property, then future legislatures could come right in and just keep continuing to increase the rate on high tax corporate, no, that's not the word, commercial tax rate payers. So this is commercial property we're talking about there. We've got some other things on infrastructure this afternoon. We were supposed to have our big child care tax credit package up tomorrow, but that has been shifted to next week. So if you want more information on that, I can get that to you. Some other tort reform things. A couple of our MEPA bills are being heard. That's some of the responses to the held decision with House Bill 270 and Senate Bill 221. Those are both up this week. And then the other kind of alternative that keeps appearing, if you're interested in that tax discussion, is Senate Bill 90. That initially took lodging and bed tax revenue, all of it, and put it towards property tax relief, and we did oppose it in that form. However, it was amended so that half of that still stays in the Department of Commerce tourism budget for tourism promotion, and that other remaining 4% would go to property tax relief. And so we'll see what kind of shakes out with the tax fight. We understand that property tax is a big issue for a lot of residents in Montana, and that shift to residential as natural resource payers have ceased to exist as that third leg of the tax stool. But we're not sure that 231 is the right solution, and it's tough because the political will is that we really need to do something on it, but that's not really the chamber's space. So we're just trying to play the field properly there. So Senate Bill 90 will be heard Thursday afternoon if you're interested in that. And then some other work comp and some other career and tech ed bills. And with that, I'll probably stop the recording so that we can just chat about what the heck's happening here.